Hey guys, I'm Dov, and it is with great pleasure that I would like to introduce you to the one, the only, Wulfrik the Wanderer. Indeed, we are here with Norsca, and yeah, I've got it paused because the battle's going to be kicking off right away. I am indeed back in Total War Warhammer, and with the new Norsca DLC release, we are in online action with the Norscans up against the Beastmen. The Beastmen are carrying some of their new regiments of Renown, but we'll get to that in just a minute here. Starting with this forest engagement that's about to kick off, I've got two Marauder Horsemen. We'll go ahead and put it in slow motion. And for my main line here, we've got a mix of Berserkers and regular Marauders. A couple of regiments of Renown. We've got the Icehorn Marauders as well as the Unbreakable Brutes of the Hound. 2 units of Marauder Hunters with Javelins. 1 unit of Marauder Spearmen. A Shaman Sorcerer, Lore of Death. He's got Spirit Leech, Soul Blight, Fate of Yuna. We've also got Wulfrik the Wanderer, of course, with all his accoutrements on a warhorse. He's got a Skin Wolf companion with the aura buff and nothing else, as well as the Armored Regiment of Renown unit of Skin Wolves. And of course, as you guys saw flying across the battlefield earlier, we do indeed have a beautiful Frostworm. Just absolutely gorgeous. For my opponent's force, he's got 2 units of Centaurs here in the woods. Pretty good pick against Norsca, considering they're not generally high armor. He's got a front line of Goreherd with shields, it looks like. Yep. Backed up by the Butchers of Kalkengard, the new Regiment of Renown unit of Minotaurs, who look absolutely amazing. Oh man, those cows are mean. He also does have the Regiment of Renown Bestigor Herd, Gorok's Man Rippers. Morghur the Shadowgave is his lord with, looks like Staff of Ruinous Corruption and Spirit Essence of Chaos. No buff abilities. He also has the Regiment of Renown Ungor Spearmen. The Destroyers of the Drakewald, looking very good as well. And 2 Gorbals, as well as a Death Shaman, of course, with Spirit Leech and Soul Blight. So good stuff. Looks like he's also carrying a scroll. And looks like one of these Gorbals does have the AoE effect, Slaughterer's Call, and the other does not. However, they both have Blood Greed. So very good stuff. We will kick the battle off. And I'm going to do a bit of skirmishing here, try and pull these Centaurs into an unfavorable engagement. Maybe do some damage with these Marauder Horsemen. So they're going to get over here and start screening this edge, and the idea with the Frostworm coming over here is he doesn't have any ranged units, so I can fairly well fly him wherever I please. And if I can use the slow ability to slow these guys down, they won't be able to catch the Marauder Horsemen because they are slightly faster, so given the time, they will catch them. And I believe these guys have Forest Strider? Nope, they actually don't. Interesting. But they will never tire, so there's that. You can see the aura effect. Let's take a look at that. Looks like it's actually gone, but it should be proccing, yep, on these guys over here. So it's the same aura effect that the chill guys have, the chilling aura, minus 36% speed. And then the Frostworm's also going to come in and apply the Frostbite, which is minus 52% speed. So you can see with those 2 effects stacked on top of each other, even a very fast unit like Centaurs is brought down to 21 speed. That's, you know, slower than a dwarf. So very good stacking effects, and I can definitely see the utility of this. I'm going to get in here, do a quick charge, do a bit of damage, and pull away before they can appropriately respond. It's also slowing them and allowing my Marauder Horsemen to get some extra damage, at least that's the idea. So just wanted to show you guys some of those new effects. Definitely very good. The Frostbite is a massive speed debuff, probably one of the biggest in the game, so very good stuff. We're just going to continue to pressure and harass here, and I do need to be careful. These 2 Gorbals, you know, they can take down this this Frostworm in a pretty big hurry, so do need to be careful of that. But you can see after they land a hit there, these guys just are pretty much at a dead stop. I mean, they're going nowhere. The other unit comes in, and looks like they haven't got hit by the Frostbite yet because I'm trying to pull away. But when those 2 stack on top of each other, it is absolutely brutal. So since my opponent hasn't brought any skirmishing, I'm content to pretty much sit back and, you know, just try and do as much damage as possible. If I had noticed that his Death Sorcerer was over here, I might have tried to go over and goon him with the Frostworm. But for the time being, I was very much preoccupied in assisting my skirmishers here, and this is something I feel the Frostworm can be very good at, especially against a faction like the Beastmen that can't field any type of air force. You know, even against... I'd have to compare their speed, but I mean, the Frostworm has, let's see, 55 speed? Interesting. Yeah, let's see. Oh, 55 speed. Interesting. Oh, no, that's leadership. Genius. 90 speed. Okay, that's really good. So he could probably fly around and kite like a Boris Todbringer or another Flying Lord, or, you know, any type of Flying Lord, whether it be Greenskin, Chaos, whoever. And due to the slowing effect, you could just kind of kite them around and maybe use some Marauders with throwing axes to really deal damage. It's very interesting, something I want to play around with some more. But you can see we're about to kick off the mainline fight here. We've got some Javelins coming in, not necessarily on the right targets, but we are going to get a counter charge with the last second here. You can see the Berserkers with their awesome looking tattoos getting in here and just laying into the Beastmen. Very bloody battle. Going to be a great battle. You can see the Ice Marauders are doing okay, but across the line, I'm definitely going to be outmatched in terms of infantry. Luckily, these Brutes of the Hound are unbreakable, so they'll be able to get their rage, and let's actually look to see how quickly that can proc, excuse me. So they're actually not even enraged yet, so you can see they're already down like more than half their health, almost a third of their health, and they haven't even hit the first level of enrage. And this is one of the things about the enrage timer that I think needs a little bit of tweaking. I really think you maybe need to reduce the time it takes, because 22 seconds doesn't seem like a long time, but in a battle between two high damage factions like this, I mean, these guys are going to pretty much get destroyed before they can hit their rage. You see, these guys have barely hit their rage, and they were one of the first ones to engage. They're barely hitting the first level, so it is a timely buff in terms of their leadership, helping them hold in the fight when they probably would have otherwise routed in the face of this poison and, you know, all these unit models. But you can see here, still not proccing the rage there, and these Brutes of the Hound still not proccing it either, so just barely there going off the first level, which doesn't really apply to them because they're unbreakable anyway. So I'm not sure how I feel about that rage mechanic, to be honest. It's because of the glass cannon nature of Norsca, it ends up not being incredibly useful, but anyway. Over here, I did miss a bit of an engagement. My Frostworm ended up getting caught by the Gorbulls here with the support of the Centigores, and they're now trying to get rid of these Marauder Horsemen. The Frostworm did rally, but I haven't noticed yet. It's going to take me some time to bring him back over. Across the line, things are going okay. We're dropping a Soul Blight here, which is going to put most of these Beastmen units down to 0 armor. So the Marauder Berserkers will be able to do quite a bit of damage. We've got these Javelins throwing in here, and they are putting a beat down on the Butchers of Kalkengard, excuse me. And we've also got the Skinwolf Werekin in here doing some damage, as well as Wulfrik the Wanderer and some Marauder Spearmen, so very good trade for me. These Maws of Savagery have gotten into the rear of these Goreherd and are going to be turning that fight decisively in my favor. It's going to be very important. We have now dropped the, let's see, not yet. I'm going to drop the Hunter of Champions here on Morghur and try and goon in on him and take him out early, but honestly Morghur's pretty tanky, and where he's soaked in with all these unit models, it's going to be pretty hard to take him out. But let's see, the Enrage is somehow still not procced on these guys, so interesting. They're just barely getting the base rage. Oh, I missed it. You can see the ship went through. Did quite a bit of damage. I got a decent number of kills there. Let's take a look at Wulfrik. I'm going to be slowing down a lot just because there's a lot of new things to take a look at, so I apologize for that. But let's zoom in here on Wulfrik and see. I guess we can just look here. So not too many kills on that. I didn't get a great angle on it. Wulfrik kind of did a charge animation and got a little bit off. It could have been absolutely devastating, just torn apart this whole line. But it did help do some damage to those Goreherds with shields. They have now routed off, so going okay so far. We've also routed off this Goreherd, but it looks like they're about to rally now. These Marauders, with the assistance of the Skinwolves, did win that fight, so very cool stuff. These guys are continuing to pitch their Javelins here. Looks like Morghur did summon some Chaos Spawns, so they're now trying to take them down. And you can see the Hunter of Champions has now been dropped on Morghur. And it doesn't last very long, unfortunately, but it does do quite a bit of debuff to him. You can see he's at 0 armor and 0 melee defense, so he's going to pretty much take the full force of any hit against him. You can see the Death Shamans in here, as well as the Maws of Savagery. They're doing quite a bit of damage, but Morghur's regeneration will be able to keep him in the fight. Definitely hard lord to goon. So we do break these Destroyers of Drakwold here. Let's see what level of enrage these guys are at. Okay, so these guys are actually at Berserk, so they do have the 22% physical resistance, and definitely see how they could have beasted that fight out. You know, maybe I was a little premature to write that off. I guess on these Berserkers it is a little more powerful. I don't know if it procs faster, but let's see if we can get in on these Icehorn Marauders maybe, and look at them. So they're still at the first level of rage. I'm not sure about that, and I believe the Hounds boys got completely destroyed. But anyway, we'll kick off to the next phase here. These Gorok's Man Rippers have gotten completely destroyed by this goon squad. Wulfrik in this goon squad is very powerful. Definitely gives him some good utility, but the Gorbles have finally arrived in the main fight after being well missed the entire time. They're going to put a beating on this Death Sorcerer in a big hurry. You can see him getting immediately chunked down to half health in about 2 hits. And we're going to get the goon squad back in here and try and spring him loose, because I definitely need this Death Sorcerer. He still had quite a bit of magic left, so these Gore Herds are trying to push through onto the Marauder Hunters, which is very good, but they're still continuing to be engaged by the Marauder Spearmen, so they're going to take quite a bit of damage here. The Skin Wolf is continuing to chase around. Very good unit overall. I can see these guys being spammed quite a bit, because they're really, really good, honestly. The Moss of Savagery continuing to tank it out in here against the Gorbals. This is probably not a great fight for Wulfrik, just because of all this. Now, great rear charge coming in with these Centigors who got around. Unfortunately, I was not timely with my Frostworm, or else I probably could have intercepted this, but they're going to get somewhat bogged down here. Spirit Lich going off on Wulfrik, but no big deal. We are going to get the Skin Wolf Werekin in here as well to help support, deal damage to these Centigors, so the Marauder Berserkers and these Marauders are also coming in from behind, and looks like we're getting another Spirit Leech here on Gorbel, I believe, perhaps? I know I cast one about this time. These Marauder Spearmen are actually very good units, even against other infantry. They just have pretty decent combat stats, and it looks like they're actually at the top level of rage. So you can see 36 attack, 41 defense, and they've actually got 2 chevrons throughout the course of the battle. Or no, I think they started with 1. So pretty good though, with the physical resist and everything. I'm liking it more and more as I actually watch this replay again. You can see this Gorbol's now got the Hunter of Champions on him. He's a bit out of position. He's going to get gooned by Wulfrik, and you know, with that debuff applied, and with the Frostworm now coming in for support, this Gorbol's going to take a beating very, very fast. My opponent wisely, you know, force pathing everything after them, trying to just take down this Frostworm, which is a very good play. I'm going to spring Wulfrik loose and go after these Centigors, just because they don't really pose a huge threat to him. I can try and fend him off. At this point, I'm just trying to keep my Javelins safe. These Javelin units are very, very good, especially against the Beastmen. They're pretty much one of the only tools I have left to help deal with Gorbel. So you can see here the Skinwolf Werekin with his regeneration is going to stand here and tank quite a bit. He's got pretty great combat stats as well, so you can see another Sea Fang going off, getting a decent amount of damage. Nothing crazy, but the Skinwolf is now taking quite a bit of damage, but just tying all these guys up, allowing the Javelins to fire, and oh, they actually wow, they actually get the enrage timer from doing ranged attacks. That's very interesting. That is very interesting. I did not know that. Very good to know. So we both learned something today, me and whoever's watching this, or I should say we all learned something today. So apparently rage can proc, or were these guys in combat maybe? I'm not sure. I'll have to do that, a little more testing on that, but they were definitely in combat for a bit, but I don't think it was long enough to proc in rage, so very interesting. The Mods of Savagery are getting pretty low, but these 8 unit models will still be able to regenerate quite a bit, and the Skinwolf Werekin here is still regenerating as well, not quite at his healing cap, so you can see Wulfrik's getting a little bit low here. He's trapped by Morghur, but he's going to be able to get away with his superior mobility. You can see Gorbel's immediately going to set his sights there, but we're going to bring in the goon squad of the Werekin to put a beating on Gorbel, and he's not going to like this fight too much, especially with the Javelins coming in, but a great Chaos Spawn summon here on top of my Marauder Hunters with Javelins. Very good play. Now you can see this Skinwolf Werekin was momentarily fighting Morghur, but then I pulled him away. Now I'm bringing Wulfrik back in and dropping the Hunter of Champions just to negate a lot of Morghur's stats and make him a little less tanky. But Probably should have used it on the Gorbel at that point, just to help support this fight. You can see the Gorbel's going to get an attack in here, and he's doing quite a bit of damage still, even as low as he is. But we're just trying to get these Chaos Spawn to degenerate. You can see the balance of power is slightly in my opponent's favor, actually, despite us having routed off a lot of these units. My Death Sorcerer is chasing his Death Sorcerer away, so, you know, the two degenerates, as many of you would probably say. Lore of Death is still quite strong, never quite got nerfed all the way into the ground. It's always been fairly useful, so... You know, they're going off together to do Death Sorcerer stuff, so we'll let them do their thing. You can see we've shattered most of the forces here in the center. This Gorbel's very, very low, and, you know, we're going to try and chase him down with the Skinwolf Werekin. You can see Morghur's then chasing the Skinwolf, so a little bit of circus action going here, but my opponent at that admits defeat, feeling that he cannot win. And very, very well played. That was really fun. I really like Norsca. I was a little dubious about that in Rage because I didn't really get to see it in the battle. You know, as the battle was happening, things are moving a little bit too fast, and you don't really notice it too much. But now that I go back and watch the replay, I can see right when it gets to the point, like the critical point in the engagement, where you saw like these Marauder Berserkers, for example, they were matched up against an equivocal, you know, couple units mixed together. You know, they're a little bit outnumbered, but right when it gets to the critical point of the fight is when like the physical resistance and other things will start to kick in. So it's a very interesting mechanic. The Brutes of the Hound got pretty much ransacked before theirs could even proc, but you can see the other Marauder Berserkers, 175 kills and a single chevron. They did great. So very interesting, very, very interesting. The Icehorn Marauders did okay, but I don't know if they're really worth the extra cost over regular Marauders. I'm not completely sold on them. The immune to psychology definitely is nice, especially against the Butchers of Kalkengard, who do cause terror, if I'm not mistaken. The Frostworm did okay, probably not as much as I would have liked it to for its cost, but I kind of forgot about it for a while, so that's on me. The Maws of Savagery and the Skinwolf Werekin against the Beastmen are auto picks for me, because they don't have any fire damage, and you know, these guys are very, very good at anti-large, armor piercing, regeneration. I mean, just a lot to like there, so definitely like those guys. The Marauder Horsemen did okay, but didn't do great. And the Javelins there in the end definitely clutched it out, helping take out those Gorbels, take out the Chaos Spawn summons, you know, these Butchers of Kalkengard also. That was very much a combined effort, so. For my opponent's forces, this unit of Centaurs that got into the back line got a chevron. This one didn't quite get a chevron, but I'm not sure if these chevrons were handed out at the beginning of the battle. I didn't really pay attention, so sorry about that. But some of these may have been gained through the battle. Like this one might be, although I don't know. These guys got 72 and they didn't get one, so it's hard to say. But overall, interesting build. I think my opponent's just trying some new things out. You know, people are trying to figure out how to counter Norsca. And as the Beastman, you know, I'll just need to do a little bit of playing in that matchup myself. You know, I have played Beastmen quite a bit, but I haven't played that matchup quite yet, so I will let you guys know. But so far, I'm really liking Norsca. They're not OP by any means, I don't think, but definitely a good faction, and they have some interesting tools, so hope you guys enjoyed that first look here. I'll have some content coming for you for the rest of the weekend. I will hopefully be able to get everything uploaded and set to, or recorded and set to upload, but let me know what you guys are liking. Let me know what you want to see. Subscribe and like the videos if you feel inclined, and do share with your friends. We're still trying to get this channel kind of off the ground a little bit, so you know, any interaction is great. I thank you guys for your support, and we'll see you next time.